Air fryer calzone, one of my favourite childhood foods and ideal for cooking in the air fryer. Simply load it into the air fryer following our recipe and you'll be amazed by how good it tastes. My name is Samantha, and along with my husband Dominic, who is behind the camera, we will be showing you today 12 different ways to incorporate the bread maker and the air fryer to make delicious kitchen gadget recipes. We are big fans of the bread maker dough, and what we like about the dough is how you can transform it for the air fryer recipes, or just keep it as dough, or just make it to use some bread. Today it's all about having some fun while the kids are at school and spending the day in the kitchen teaching you different ways to cook with these kitchen gadgets. And if you want to follow along with this series, simply head over to our YouTube channel and you can scroll through the different videos that we've done today. So, if you've seen my videos for my air fry garlic bread and my air fry pizza, if not, they're in our YouTube channel, so if I was you, I'd have a look in our air fry category and check them out. But basically what I was talking about is using one lot of bread maker pizza dough and transforming it into lots of different dishes. Well, what I normally do is I get one lot of garlic bread out of it and one pizza. But on this occasion, because we'd left the dough to prove for a lot longer than normal, we ended up with a lot more dough. So this here that you see in front of us is the last bit of dough. And basically this little ball of dough is what I have left over, and I'm going to show you now how to transform it into an air fry calzone. An air fry calzone, if you haven't tried one before, in simple terms, it's basically a pizza that's been made into the shape of a pie. So you kind of fold over a pizza with all your favourite pizza toppings and you've got calzone. You can also make calzones with short crust pastry or pie crust, and you'll find that recipe on recipethis.com if you search for calzone. And in that we used leftover turkey pie filling to make the calzone, but you can use pizza, toppings, whatever you like. So let me introduce you to my calzone pie cutter first. This is the one that we actually use, and they are fantastic, and we don't just use it for calzone. We also use it for the British favourites like the Cornish pasty. You can use it for sausage rolls, you can use it for cheese and onion pasties. It's got so many uses, and it's like a pie cutter that you cut your pie up in and then you can just air fry. And they come out really clean as well, and they're ridiculously cheap. I think we paid about €2 for ours about 5 years ago, and it's still doing a fantastic job now. So anyway, when you use this, what you do is you want to roll your dough so that it's going to fit in this little pie maker. So what I recommend you do first is you grab your dough, you flour it so that it's not sticking to you, and as you flour it, you're getting some of it on your hands as well. And then grab your rolling pin and give it a quick roll. The example of that we're using today is really showing you how to use up that tiny little bit of leftover pizza dough that you have. But you know, you can make a batch and do lots of them, or you can just make one of them like we are. So the size you're targeting here is big enough so that you can fit that on. So look, I've already rolled it out, it's already perfect size. And then you need a knife to be able to cut round. Careful, because it does have a few little odds and sods about it, so it's slightly harder to cut round than a normal casserole dish, but it's still relatively easy. You've just kind of got to give it a bit more patience, and then pull it apart as you go to get rid of all the little bits, because if you see, we've still got quite a bit of dough left. You could make tiny little pizza roll with what's left if you wanted to. So that's actually how much dough we've still got. You know, it's amazing how far one lot of pizza dough stretches. So as you can see, that's how it looks, and that's the size that you're going for. So now you want to put it onto your pie thing. So if you look, it needs a bit of a squish out so that you can get all the edges in. Because the idea here is you've got special lines that make it look like a pasty or a pie. So you want it to be on these, because otherwise you're just not going to get the look you want. So then if you have a look here, this is how it looks once on there. So now your focus should be on the toppings. But something important to point out first is that you don't want to overfill it. Do one side only. That is because when you kind of smash the two sides together, you'll end up with loads of filling escaping out. So I still put the tomato sauce on both sides to stop it getting dry. But I think anything else needs to just be one side. So the tomato sauce, it's just pureed tinned tomatoes, bit of garlic and a bit of oregano. Nothing over the top, just something easy that any person could prep themselves at home. So now fillings. My favourite recommendation for calzone is cheese and ham. Go to an Italian restaurant and they will serve you cheese and ham, always. Not so pleasing for me because when I first got introduced to calzones at my local Italian restaurant, I was vegetarian. So I would always say, can I have a calzone please, but no ham? And then they would add loads of extra cheese in it for me. So what I recommend you do is you kind of roll up your ham and then kind of tilt it so it's only doing one side like that. And then add in cheese. Mozzarella's always good, isn't it, for pizza? Like I say, don't do too much because it'll just come out. But any that comes out, you can kind of get rid of and trim off the sides before you actually air fry it. And then I also love red Leicester, which is an English cheese. And you can just chop up a little bit of that in there as well. And then it crumbles. It's kind of a bit like cheddar if you've never had it before. And as a child, it was my favourite cheese. Though I think as an adult, my favourite cheese now is Gouda, which is just as good. And then you can also add in some Philadelphia. If Philadelphia is your thing, just stick a little blob of it in there. Right, so you've got your main fillings in. You're not going to manage any more ham because you've filled quite a lot of cheese in there. And your next task is to slowly fold it over, press it down as hard as you possibly can. And let me just show you for the camera, some of it's coming out already, and that is fine because you can trim that bit off before it goes in. As long as you're getting some of your filling in, that's all that matters. And that's why I'm saying you only do one side, because otherwise you just end up with an explosion. So now it still sticks quite a bit, so let me just sort it out for you. So as you can see, that's how they look when they've been done in the machine. And then it's a case of pulling it together and getting it ready for the air fryer. Because the main thing about these pie makers is that it's giving you the pie look that you're looking for. So now, like when you're doing a stromboli, you want to kind of get the edges together. Like that. I notice that when I'm doing cheese and stuff like that and adding tomato sauce, it does stick to the pie maker more, but it's not that bad. If you look at it, it's really not that bad. Right, so once you've done that and that you've made sure it's all pressed in together, you want to find your egg wash. Give it a quick egg wash, and then it's ready for going in the air fry basket. And if you're like me, pinch a bit of the cheese that's fallen. Into the air fry basket it goes. So now, take a look at that. That's fantastic. And if you look, there is a bit hanging out, but it's mainly the ham, so that's not going to do anything with that coming out. But if you've got cheese, you could end up with a lot of cheese mess in your air fryer. But overall, it's just really easy. I recommend setting the temperature at 180 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit. And let's start with 10 minutes to see how that does. That's normally enough, but it depends what fillings you're using in yours. And then wait for the beep. And it's beeped. I'm expecting it to be kind of like a stuffed croissant when it's done. Just because I didn't seal it where the ham was, because the ham can kind of hang out and it makes it even nicer. So let's see how it's turned out, shall we? Oh, wow. Hey, I'm spot on, just like a croissant. So if you think of how much you love a croissant, calzone can be very much like it. But if you don't want to see the filling and you don't want it all hanging out like that, just seal it properly and don't put the ham right towards the edge. But I actually prefer it like that because it reminds me of trips to France, having the lovely croissants. So please comment below with which bread maker and air fryer you have at home in your kitchen. Here in the Milners, we have just a cheap bread maker that we got from Amazon Germany that we had shipped to us, and we also use the Philips Air Fryer XL, which we've had for a few years now. And if you are into air fryers and bread makers, do head over to recipethis.com, as we have a lot of recipes for you to choose from there, and all the recipes that we're mentioning in these videos you can find over there too. Thanks for watching. We have a huge collection of kitchen gadget recipes, including air fryer, instant pot, slow cooker, soup maker and many others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Best of all, join our newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter. There we have plenty of printables, cooking time cheat sheets, free ebooks and mini courses to help you along your way in your kitchen gadgets journey.